Robert, now with defeat out there, how would you sum up the match?
It's an unlucky start of the game where they scored a cross. I think they are stronger than us in the first half, and we don't really find a way out of their press. And they're quite strong, but they don't really create so many chances. But they are pushing us down. I think second half is much better. I think it's a very good step for us to show that we can compete with Man United in the second half. We have a few chances. I think it's like two shots on goal. So we create too few chances, but we still defend very well in the second half, and we're much braver on the ball. So quite even game even if they win, but obviously still a loss.
And you made 3 substitutes today, but the first one didn't come until 77th minute. A lot of people might say that's maybe a bit too late. Was there a reason why you only made 3 when you were kind of looking to chase the game?
Yeah, you always look at the momentum of the game, and in the beginning of the second half we get better and we create a few extra almost chances, and then we actually have some momentum in that. And sometimes you look at you need to change players to fix the game. I actually thought that we had a quite good momentum in the game where we are competing, and Jessica Nance was almost getting the chances, and Haley, and so the offensive players that you normally take off in those moments, I thought all four of them were creating chances or almost chances. So then we hold it a little bit longer before we took the substitutions today.
And of course, Josephine Wybrink made her debut today. What does it make her performance as a DM next to Marta Ova?
I think it was a really good debut. I mean, she was winning a lot of balls. She was not losing too many balls, and obviously Maita had more ball, but I think they worked well together. And I think it was more her body who took. She haven't played for 2 months, but I think it was a good game, and she showed that she can compete in this league. Jessie.
Hey Robert, you spoke about feeling like it was an even game, but at the same time it felt like you weren't necessarily able to put United under maybe that pressure to get that equaliser. How do you sort of assess your attacking thrust of the night?
I think we know where we are. I mean, we are a top 6, but we're not a top 4 team. So you need to remind yourself that if you think that you're going to dominate the possession and the goal chances against the top 2 teams in the league, we are not there yet. So for me, I need to break it down to can we create chances, because we have had some games this year where we don't have a single chance, for example, or where we only defend. I think it's 45 in possession, which is not too bad. So you need to look at where we are, and we are a top 6 team, but we're not top 2 teams. And when you play against the top 2 teams with a good form and a really good defense, then it's what it is right now. But I saw some details in how we play and how we almost created chances today, where I feel like we're taking steps. I also saw the bravery that I wanted to see today, that we didn't also concede more goals and lose 4-0 or 3-0 like we did in the game. So you need to look at the positive as well. But obviously you also see that Man United winning because they're better than us. So honestly, yes, but still, it's only 1-0 and it's only 2 shots at goal from them, and still we had a few almost chances, and yes, we had a good shot as well. So everything is not just black and white when you lose. You need to look at it in the between as well.
Can I also ask about Beth? It feels like at times she can be such a focal point for you, but also she almost wants to be everywhere on the pitch, and then maybe at points where you get the ball, she's not necessarily in a position where exactly you want her. How do you approach using a player like Beth in your team?
Tactically, we try to use her the way we think she's the strongest. So when she drops quite much, that's the part of the tactics, to use her in the build-up in a link-up play. In a normal game, if we can also establish the attack and have her in the box when we cross it, that's how we want to look in the future. But right now, we need her strength in the box, because if we go kicking balls in behind on her, she's not the quickest number 9, so then it's not how we want to play. So we're trying to use her in a dropping player, and then we have the wingers which has more speed, and Marta, which is both basically. But we're trying to find a way where we use her strength. Obviously, like you say, when she drops too low, we don't really get her up in the box, and then it's not always working. But Haley and Jess was almost threatening anyway. But in the long end, we want to make sure we use that link, dropping 9 sometimes, to make sure we can play through their press and then attack. Charlotte?
You spoke ahead of the game about wanting to take steps to get over the line in these big games and beat the top teams. Did you feel you saw some progress towards that end today?
Yeah, I think in the second half. I mean, the game we have won against the top teams was last year here at Arsenal, and the main thing we won that was that because we had 0-0 for a long time, we were actually pushed up a lot in that game. So if you look at today's game compared to that game, we were better today. We created actually 2 chances. We were more on the ball this game. So yes, I actually think we're taking steps against the big teams. But to make sure we win against them, we need to be perfect in defending the box. We were not that today. and we need to be really sharp when we get the few chances we get, and we were not that today. But everything else was a step forward, and I think, you know, we have a few new players, new goalkeeper, one new assistant coach. We lost a head of analyst and another assistant coach. We are in a phase where we try to implement new stuff, and that takes time as well. And that's why I'm really happy with the second half, because I saw a glimpse of what we want to do against a really good team. And to be honest, Man United is in a really good form right now as well.
And what was it like under the lights, playing under the lights here?
I just love being here under the lights. I think this is, you know, my happy place, this stadium, and it's so much. It's so nice to see the fans and be on this stadium, and I just love that the players are playing at this stadium, because I think they deserve to have this atmosphere, and for you guys as well to sit here and have this atmosphere instead of other stadiums in the Women's Super League sometimes that is not the newest. I just love to be here.
Cool. We'll do Jamie then Chris.
Robert, can I just ask about the midfield performance in particular? Because it felt at the start of the game United had that tempo, but you really grew into it. Just what did you make of midfield in particular today?
I agree, they were stronger in the first half, especially they were so aggressive, so they won the ball from us, and we were not really in the game in that way, because they scored a goal as well. I think that was mentally, but I think Maite from minute 15 or 20 to the last minute she's the best midfielder on the field, if you ask me. I think she has so much potential in her way, and now when she building relationships with the players, she's a magical player in that way. Josephine Rybak is not normally playing in that position, but I think she had some really good moments, and then we can always discuss if Martha and Beth is a 10-9, and you know my answer on that. So I think it's like they can handle it in a very good way, but to have a clear number 10, that's Olivia in the second half when she come in, it's going to give it a dynamic when we make her play there as well in the future. But right now we're using the squad we have in a very good way, and I think all the players today actually try to do what we wanted to do.
And you speak a lot about bridging the gap between the top teams and the WSL, and it feels like this game today, although it wasn't the most exciting perhaps, it feels like you've bridged the gap, because United, you've had some big defeats to them and now it's only 1-0. What do you think are those key things that Tottenham need to work on to be able to get those games over the line? Because it does feel like you're contesting.
Yeah, I think sometimes you think that we're going to do something and then we close the gap, but then you realize that Chelsea buying a lot of players, Man United taking the players we had, so sometimes the gap is not closing yet, but I think what we need to focus on is the players we have, the staff we have, the club we have, to make sure we get better. So basically the players we have need to develop. Me as a coach and my coaching staff need to make sure we find even more details in the way we play so we can beat Man United. Signing a technical director will help this club to make sure we can find the right players for the way we play even more than we've done before. So all these small details is the journey we always speak about, and I think that's the patience we speak about as well, that if you're going to close a gap without just buying the best players in the world, you need to find the structure for everything, not only the players, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what I see right now actually, that we compete with the top 2 team in the league, and we actually feel like we want to have a draw today at least, right? So that's a good feeling.
Robert, the goal you conceded today, what do you make of it from a defensive point of view?
I think if you start from the beginning, it's a very easy. They drop a ball in behind, and they get a second ball, and the cross is we're not really blocked the cross, and then we have the right numbers. We look how we want to look in the box when we defend boxes, but we lose the duel. So obviously a good strike, but we need to defend better in those situations, because that's too easy to score. We don't get those goals. So. But that's one of the things we need to improve. We need to be even sharper, because the players in the top teams are extremely strong in those situations.
An incident that happened right in front of your eyes, Haley's yellow card in the 24th minute. What did you make of it?
Didn't really see it actually.
Okay. Arsenal up next. Very difficult game again. What do you do? What do you do differently?
The main thing now, what I feel from the last spell of games when we lost, is now I'm actually feel like, where are we now? This game was quite nice to see. Where are we? How much can we compete? What can we do in the game? When we come to Arsenal away, I think it's going to be extremely fun to see if we can compete and try to beat them at their own place. Obviously we have them, and then we have Man City after that as well, so we have a tough spell of games. But I just, as a coach, as a leader, want to make sure we take steps and try to take points from these games, hopefully win as well. And then when you're done with those 2 games, you're going to basically come back to the games where you expect us to win again. And then when the game is over, we're going to see where we are in the table. But once again, it's 2 games coming up that nobody expects us to win anything in those games. But I want to see ourselves do like the second half, where we try to compete, where we try to find ways, and hopefully we can find where we do perfect defending and one golden moment where we can score a goal as well.
Cool. We've got time for one more down here.
Yeah, Robert, what Jamie was saying about the midfield, I felt what you kind of lacked was strength and height kind of thing. Obviously we know who's missing from there, but it felt like Oroth played really, really well after a certain period, as you said, but there wasn't anyone kind of guarding her at all.
Yeah.
I just wonder, is that the idea that Holt will come into that role, or have you got somebody else in mind to step into that?
I think it's a good analysis, but the main thing with Evelina Summanen is that she's actually exactly that. And when you lost her, we have different players that is more technical, so Anna Schicki and Olga, and that's basically the reason why I went for Josephine Rybrik as a 6 today too. She's a little bit more, she's not the biggest centre back either, so that's why she's not that strong, but she's at least stronger than the other two, so that was one of the main things to make sure we can win balls as well. But Man United's central midfielder is extremely strong, and Olivia Holt is a stronger player, but she's more a technical 10 in the higher space, so she's more to create the chances and break lines and score goals and do assists. But it's good that she has the size, because you need that in this league.
Because they had Miyazawa and Janssen kind of thing, so you needed to kind of almost match that, didn't you? Really, that was the.
Yeah, you want to do it, but then you don't want to go from your compromise how you play as well. So it becomes a tough duel, and they won the duels, but Mike they won the football brain and how you play. But yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why they scored in the beginning and why they had a good effect, because they were so strong in the beginning. But we have the players we have, and we want to develop the players we have to make sure we look the way we want to do. And sometimes you just lose because they have strong players here.
So you're planning really for next season, I guess, from the sound of it.
I mean, both ways. We always try to look how can we compete next season. So that's the main thing, because we're probably not going to win the league this year. But we compete now and we want to beat them now. But I'm not going to change around too much. I'm going to make sure we build on the performances and see if we can win that way.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Cheers.